Mike, check, check, check. Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thank you guys for rocking with the channel. Thank you guys for supporting through the Cash App, through the link tree. It's priceless. All right. So I've been doing these reaction videos here and there over the past month, and my goal has been to get to the point where I can react to an hour's worth of different stories, and then I'd release the videos separately, and some covering news topics. And this has all been a primer so that I can start doing live and then do the same thing. So I'm developing a show, and I appreciate you guys coming along with me on this journey. This is separate from It's All Happening, from the breakdowns, from TBD, from probably what I'm most known for. But I'm having a great time, and I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of different topics that cover a range of things. So just letting you guys on the inside of how my logic has been moving and the goal with trying out certain new things. So all the feedback is welcome. Everything that's whack, everything that's awesome, everything that's mid. I appreciate all that stuff. One guy told me on Twitter the other day, one of the analysts in the audience, he told me that he's like, Justin, I love your content, but your lighting sucks. He essentially said that. So I'm working on it. I'm progressing. I'm taking steps in the right direction. But I do want to tell you guys, I really appreciate all the support. And especially the people who donate to the Cash App and the link tree, and to my top 20 members. Right now, we have a members only interview with Rude Jude that's currently available for members. And so this is a collaboration, a long time coming. Jude and I were on, I was on the All Out show with Rude Jude on Shade 45 for almost a decade. And that show came to a close at the end of last year. This is his first conversation talking about this since he left. So show Rude Jude some love. I have a clip currently available on the channel. We'll talk about that in one of the segments today. But I really appreciate you guys, and it's all happening. Now, up first, if you guys haven't realized that the God MC himself, Rakim, has just dropped another album, first album in a very long time. Punch yourself in the face. The project is called God's Network. It is very unique from Rakim project standpoints because he is the lead producer and he does the scratches on the album. So this is a Rakim album where he highlights MCs that he loves and he respects from a producer standpoint. He rhymes on a few tracks. He's on every track in one way or the other, but some tracks highlight different artists. But it's all Rakim from the sound of it to the collaborations to the verses themselves. The track list is pretty wild. It's a pretty wild track list, right? 7 tracks. First cut is called Be Ill, right? Features Corrupt and Master Killer with the cuts by Rakim himself. Second track is Now Is the Time, featuring BG, Huss Kingpin, and Compton Menace. Now look at that lineup. BG from Cash Money. BG from Cash Money. That is just a wild thought in general. You got BG on a Rakim track, right? He is from New Orleans. You have Huss Kingpin, undefeated, independent, New York, God MC in his own right, to be honest with you. Huss Kingpin is on here. I got a crazy interview on my channel where Huss Kingpin breaks down the rift between him and West Side Gun. But Huss is on here, so you got New York on here. And then you got Compton Menace, West Coast representative, right? So this track right here alone is capturing sounds from every region in the country. Love this track too. It's one of my favorites on the album. Love Is the Message, featuring Nipsey Hussle, Planet Asia, Louis King, and Snoop Dogg, right? They have a posthumous Nipsey Hussle verse on this project, right? So the Nipsey Hussle's estate, they don't do anything. Nothing happens with Nipsey Hussle without the approval of the state. So this is a big deal to have Nipsey Hussle on the project. God's Playground, track 4, 38 Special, Fred the Godson, rest in peace, Sky Zoo, with additional vocals by DMX. He does a prayer. Track 5, Pendulum Swing, King Crooked, La the Dark Man, Cannabis, and Chino XL. Super MCs on this project, right? Track 6, International, featuring Cool G Rap, Tri-State, and Joel Ortiz. And then track 7, Sign of 7, featuring Prodigy of Mobb Deep, rest in peace, Method Man, X-Rated, and Big Twins, featuring this was produced by Rakim as well. So it's a different look from what most people are used to or more familiar with when it comes to Rakim the God. But this is another special project that's dropped in 2024. This whole year really has had a range of just incredible music that's hit the marketplace. The Common and Pete Rock project, I finally got a chance to sink into that this weekend. Love it. Eminem's album is pulling me in. And so and Rakim right here as well. Rhapsody is another great project that dropped this year. I gotta show love to my man Marv One. Marv One's project is one of my favorites this year as well. So this is a great year for music, away from just the battle, away from what's happening between Drake and Kendrick. For example, can't forget Lupe Fiasco's Samurai, one of his best projects ever. This is gonna be one of those years. People gonna remember 2024 the way they remember, 98, the way they remember 95, 96. You know what I mean? This is one of those years, the way people remember 2012. But I have a clip. I'm gonna play a clip from this project. I'll play a clip from Love Is the Message. I want you guys to hear this Nipsey Hussle first.
Can you see what I'm seeing? Oh, you distracted by the poverty-stricken streets of deep depression that we in. I see survivors of the worst conditions to be in. You see deceiving, the demons, the deaf and the grieving. No place to raise a seed in, but the road still grow through the crack left in the cement. Just as pleasant as eating with.
Rakim is so crazy, man. That voice, man, his vocals, inspired by jazz, rhythms, perfect octave. You can understand why they call him the God MC. I'm gonna start this over. Listen to this cat right here. This is a real track.
Can you see what I'm seeing? Oh, you distracted by the poverty-stricken streets of deep depression that we in. I see survivors of the worst conditions to be in. You see deceiving, the demons, the deaf and the grieving. No place to raise a seed in, but the road still grow through the crack left in the cement. Just as pleasant as eating, where one just succeeded. Greed and oppression's the reason people unite, even get a life expressing what they believe in.
Hang on close to the real ones.
I'm not mad at this, excuse me, I'm not mad at this AI right here either. I'm not mad at AI overall. You guys know that in general about me. I still like tailor-made freestyle. I think it's awful. It probably shouldn't exist and is disrespectful in every fashion. But from a song standpoint, I enjoy it.
Hold 'em up high, get right till we die. Love is the message.
Look, black on black, pockets fat. I pull out the 7 strap. Walk up to the club, don't pat me down, they just pat my back. All my niggas got chains on, and we thick as fuck. Out of dress code, but rush the dough, cause we don't give a fuck. Standing on the couches, popping bottles, smoking weed. When you see them hoes flocking, then that's how you know it's me. I got power in these streets, big balls, box of bricks. A gang of dead PRECs, and these expensive ass G's. Yeah, and I'm a beast off in them sheets. So if I pull it, I'm gon' sweet. As soon as I come in, I'm gon' leave. As soon as I'm done, then I'm gon' be back on my grind, back on these beats. Cause I could never be a nigga that had it, lost it, and end up back in these streets. Nuh-uh, so it's all money until I'm R.I.P. And then my
Come on, man. I mean, I miss Nipsey Hussle so much, man. I mean, he's such an important voice. I love this octave in general, but such an important voice for culture, for the Black community, for entrepreneurship, for unity. Look at this.
city nigga, I am he, and we all the O-N-E's. We bang hard like the drums on the beat. Nip pussy, hey, let's go. Keep your ear to the street, nigga.
Hang on close to the real ones. Tomorrow don't make no promises.
Love is the message. This project is out now, and Rakim's been doing a lot of interviews. He's been talking about this. Big shout out to the whole team that put this project together. This is a moment, right? I know Rakim's been talking about other projects he's working on, but for a real a Rakim produced project, that's a moment in itself. But Rakim's been doing a lot of press, and of course, they asked Rakim about how closely he followed Kendrick versus Drake, right? Kendrick versus Drake. So here he is in Billboard. He had a conversation with Angel Diaz, if I'm not mistaken, is the one who conducted the interview. They asked him about, the question is, how closely have you paid attention to the Drake and Kendrick thing? Because Drake is one of those artists that gets a knock for being an R&B dude, even though he's battle tested. He represents the mainstream, and Kendrick represents the genre in a more traditional sense to most rap fans. I like that he didn't say underground, because Kendrick is not underground. And that was another thing that always irked me in this battle. They treat Kendrick like he doesn't have one of the biggest global tours in hip hop history. But That's probably a fair way to describe it. You know, Kendrick represents the genre in a more traditional sense to most rap fans. Here's what Rakim said. I think that it was important because these brothers are at the top of the game and revered hip hop. You know, a lot of people in that position won't accept no challenge because they got too much to lose. So it was dope that these brothers put the mainstream success down and said, "Yeah, let's do it." See, I'm with that too. There's a lot of people who say that Drake shouldn't have even accepted the bait, shouldn't have taken the bait. He should have just chilled. I think if he doesn't take that bait, it says more about him than losing in this battle. You know, at least you get to see that he's with the shits, as the kids used to say. You know what I mean? I think that him stepping up was an example uh, you know, of how hip hop that was an example of how hip hop he is. Right. Now, whether or not he reps for hip hop on in his music is a different conversation. But that aspect of it, the battle aspect of it, is innate to him. And I do give him a lot of respect for stepping in the square against Kendrick Lamar. Rakim goes on, the battle put a lot of things in perspective because it showed the difference between real hip hop and mainstream hip hop. Younger artists now know that there's a difference. A lot of them didn't even understand that. They just listened to the majority, not knowing a lot of people don't categorize what they were hearing as real hip hop. That's the truth too. I think a lot of people take a rap music and they think about it in a hip hop context, right? And you know what I mean? Like I feel like people will listen to Little Pump and be like, "Oh, that's hip hop." I'm not sure Little Pump is hip hop. Little Pump to me is a better example of rap music, right? That is the genre, that's the commercial product that's being sold that we listen to. Hip hop is way more all encompassing than just rap music. We got hip hop at the Olympics. The breakdancing is going down right now on a global scale, right? Hip hop has more elements than just rapping. We talked about this in the Tariq Nasheed conversation on this channel where we talked about his documentary, Hip Hop's Hidden History, and broke down each element. So hip hop itself isn't just what songs are coming out that happen to be people rapping on them. Right. So he keeps going. The battle was very needed for the genre. I tip my hat to them brothers. Let's just hope that it stays to the music. I'm not sure. People keep saying, let's stay to the music. I don't know. I think there's a lot of stuff that's all the way around it. Hopefully all that's died down. We've covered a lot of that here on this channel. We've got shootings at people's houses. We've got Hell's Angels. we got Rick Ross getting punched in the face, his bouncer, his bodyguard getting beat up, and his DJ knocked out. I think that's as far as it needs to go. I hope that's as far as this goes. But I understand where Rakim is coming from. He continues again, to the younger artists out there, do a little history, man, just like anything else. You want to learn about your family history or your nationality's history? Research it. Researching hip hop is one of the illest things. Is one of the illest things you can do if you find out. It's one of the illest things you can do. If you find out that your family came from great people and did great things, you're going to look at life a little differently. And when you look back at hip hop and see where it came from and what this thing is about, it'll give you a better understanding of what these brothers did. It'll also make you feel a little bit better about what you represent. I mean, I do implore people to research hip hop. It's phenomenal. Just even on an anthropological level, like even if you're not interested in rap music itself, or you're not really interested in, the broader reaches of it. This is a culture born out of American dysfunction, to be perfectly honest. And now it's at the Olympics. I mean, that's a great point by Rakim. And I like the way that he talks about researching your own family's history. My family is, I have a very unique family, right? On my mother's side of the family, we are from Rocky Mount, North Carolina, right? And so we always had these huge family reunions down in Rocky Mount every summer, right? And it would be busloads of people from all over the states because Rocky Mount, that's where our family, that's where we were when we were enslaved, right? And my grandmother used to tell all these stories all the time. She grew up on a farm in Rocky Mount too. That's where she met my grandfather. And she would always, anytime I brought friends over to the house, and over to her house, we would sit down. The first time they come over, she'd pull out the photo album and show all these pictures from like the 20s, the 30s, like black and white, of them picking tobacco out there. And she would show my family, she'd show my friends our family history, literally. And she would close everything with, This is back when we were real niggas. You know what I mean? That little nugget right there always stuck with me my whole life. That whole aspect of my life, helped me really appreciate my lineage, our family's lineage, the culture where we come from. So, if you're into this music at all, it's a great idea to research where hip hop came from. Now, one thing I think is really interesting here, right? So, one of the big knocks against Drake is obviously ghostwriting. Ghostwriting is one of those things with Drake that it's very difficult to sit on the throne and say that you're the GOAT and have ghostwriters. I don't even, that's not the world I live in, right? That's a totally different thing. You could be the top selling guy in rap music. You can't be the hip hop GOAT if you got ghostwriters, right? You just can't. So Billboard asked Rakim about that, right? They said a lot of hit rap records toe the line of pop and R&B these days, and fans are more forgiving about ghostwriters when it comes to those songs. I wanted to broach that subject with you because ghostwriting was considered a cardinal sin during your era. Here's Rakim's answer. It's funny. Back in the early game around 87, 88, people started asking me to write. The first person that asked me, I was so offended by that ish. That's almost like being at practice and this kid is crossing you over like effing crazy, man. You know what I mean? You're not going to go over there and be like, my man, show me how to do that crossover. I'm not giving him the golden pen. Like, really? Nah, I'm not writing this for you. You crazy? Not the thought of having a ghostwriter, but even me ghostwrite for someone else. You kidding? He keeps going. So to have a ghostwriter where I come from, that's not acceptable. With singing, it's more complicated. It's a little different. The singer still has to hit them notes and make it theirs. It's much different for a singer because if you take a dope song from back in the day that was a hit and you give it to somebody else, it may not be a hit because they can't sing it right. But for MCs, we salute them because of what they say. So if your words aren't from you, then how am I supposed to know what you wrote and what you didn't write? And now, am I still supposed to respect you as an MC knowing that you didn't write everything? That's complicated. Big facts. I mean, it's a great point. He keeps going. But if the younger generation accepts that, then that's on them. Where I come from, we don't really respect that. I don't respect that. Everything I ever said, that was a verse I wrote. I might have let someone write a hook or somebody might have sent me a song with a hook on it, but I pride myself on what I do and how I did it. I can't see somebody else writing my rhymes and feeling like I'm that dude. My man helped me, but my man helped me be that dude. My man helped me be that dude. I can't even do that. I couldn't even feel right. I can't even say thank you if somebody came up and it was like, yo, that last song you did, bananas. I feel funny as hell standing there. I would have to say, you know what? Bro? I didn't write that. I can't front. I mean, this is the foundation of hip hop, like this ethos, right? I mean, Rakim, hip hop was started in the 70s. Rakim's first album, I believe, comes out in 80. I think it's 86. I think it's really released in 88. But like you're talking about Paid in Full, I have it on the wall. Ethos was totally different, right? You couldn't claim to be the best, and then you have collaborative writing. Now we're in a different era, and I'm pretty easy on collaborative writing in an industry sense because I understand the difference of speaking to the culture and I understand the difference of speaking for the culture, right? So, but I feel like Rakim is speaking nothing but facts here, and I honestly feel like, looking at this battle, he sounds pretty happy that Kendrick won, that a more traditional version of what hip hop is came out on top. You know what I mean? Rakim's God's Network is out now. If you guys have heard the album, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about it. And if you haven't, punch yourself in the face. But let me know what you think about Rakim said here. I mean, this is a lot of stuff that's, he conveyed a lot of things in this interview with Billboard. It's definitely worth the watch, or excuse me, it's definitely worth the read. I'll put a link in the description. But yeah, check it out. Rakim, God's Network is currently available. It's all happening.